from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us.
They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo 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 yo. What up? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And hey, thanks to Vince on Twitch, the resub 61-month streak. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And if you were just tuning into the podcast in the podcast-only form, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever it is you want to watch the show. We do this show live every week, Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We simulcast on YouTube and Twitch. Sorry, Facebook people, I don't do it anymore. But we do upload this as a unedited, uncut, raw, right off the dome podcast for you guys. So for the next hour, we're going to be talking to you guys about movies. And if you read the title, which you probably did, we're going to be talking about Super Troopers 3 and Spider-Man Brand New Day, which we both, we ran into each other at the theater on Sunday.
We did.
And I was like, hey, I know those goobs. And it was Jake and his brother, and I was there with my friend Dusty. And we went to see Spider-Man. They went to see Super Troopers, and they were out significantly earlier than we were.
Yeah, I was already at home and in my jammies and
I was still
everything,
watching.
You were still you were still sitting there.
Okay, well I'm gonna give you a little teaser, a little hot take, the little. I'm gonna review the movie, of course, once we hit into the second half hour of the program, but the program. God, does that make me sound old? Later in the program.
Well, you're not saying like you're watching your programs.
Yeah.
You're not like.
But who says program? It's a podcast. It's a whatever. Later I'm going to go into depth, but hot take, I actually really like Spider-Man.
Wow.
I know, wow, because I really did not like the one with Dr. Voodoo Magoo and, so anyway. Yeah, that's spoiler alert. But anyway, let's jump into what we normally do. It's been a week. Some news has happened. Some new movies are getting released. So we'll jump into the news. We'll talk about what's going down, and then we'll tell you what's coming out in theaters this weekend. So, Jake, what you got off the top while I'm pulling up my lists?
Well, talking about movies that are forever long, that can lead me right into a little bit of news here. There has been a trailer for the new Ramayana movie that's coming out, but Sony released an English trailer, and they went as far, and I don't know if the actors were really speaking English, but it looks like they AI'd their lip movements to be English for this whole dub trailer.
I don't know if I like that.
Because the movie is in Hindi, because it is about a Hindu thing, filmed in India and all that, but they released an English trailer.
I didn't even really think about AI being able to change mouth movements in foreign movies to fit dubbing.
Yeah,
that's, I mean, honestly, okay.
It's kind of weird,
Oh, of course,
because it's not quite right.
It kind of like old Italian horror movies.
Yeah,
where it was
any
like
Italian movie, because
some of them they're speaking English and then they dub over, and so sometimes it's like, wait a minute, are they speaking English?
Well, but Italian films until the early 2000s did the audio and video separate. They kept that old style of movie making, which is why it never lined up right. Is because they kept that audio track as its own thing and put it together later, so they always overdubbed their movies because that was the style of doing it. They could record it while they're on set, but they always overdubbed it after the fact. But yeah, that new one's out. It's in English. They have the English mouth movements and stuff like that. Looks pretty cool. I'm excited about it, of course. But with certain movies about myth and just making a mess of things, and maybe not sticking to that myth. There's a little tagline at the end of this Ramayana trailer that kind of really stood out because it says, "Our truth Our History, and it's an Indian film about Indian myth and Indian people, and we can leave it alone. So I just think
Okay.
that's an interesting
Yeah.
little tagline with certain other mythical movies out and stuff.
A hot take. Yeah.
Something else that seems in the realm of myth, Disney said that they are entertaining the idea of having fast TV, which is a
What does that mean?
free advertising based something. So basically with the fold in of like Hulu and everything like that with Disney Plus, they're entertaining the idea of having free channels available. Like if you have a new TV or something like that, you can get on your smart TV and watch all these free channels. And there's
Interesting.
a little bit of commercials here and there. So Disney's entertaining the idea of being cable, which is they can provide a channel to you at no cost
Surprise, surprise.
because they're making ad revenue off of it.
Yeah.
But that's crazy that Disney sees not squeezing money out of individuals as any form of profitable endeavor at all.
Well, I think all it is another way to corner us with convenience. And that's been the strategy of these places for years and years and years, to corner us with convenience. That's how they killed piracy.
Oh
And-
yeah, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about it. I used to torrent like crazy, but that was the only way I could watch certain media. I think we've talked about on the show. That was how I could watch Stephen Chow movies.
It was easier to obtain movies through piracy than it was to stream them. And now that they've made streaming so goddamn convenient, but now they're making it so expensive that it's all convenience. And so and I feel like there might be a paradigm shift when things start to get too expensive again. If they create cable and create all these monsters, and that's why people are flocking back to physical media, because I mean, there's episodes. Star Punch probably has one queued up on his MP3 player. I assume you listen to these on an iPod Nano with all the nostalgia stuff. But I remember talking about this, and everybody thought I was crazy. And it was like when you lose the licensing, that none of us are going to own anything, and we're all expected to be happy, right? This whole concept of owning nothing and being happy. People are starting to catch on. I'm seeing things where they're like, some guys taking a battle. He's like, well, I own the Lord of the Rings, and now it's no longer streaming. I bought that. And they're like, well, you bought the license, and we no longer had it. And he's like, it was $100 for all of them. And so, and more and more people. A Zune, yes, a Microsoft Zune, which was a fantastic MP3 player, by the way.
People shat on it, but the Zune was sick.
Zune was sick, and so this physical media is starting to make a comeback. Like, I mean, DVDs are making a slight comeback, and VHSs are oddly making a comeback, and it's this sort of like owning something that you own.
Dude, my brother collects VHSs, and the market that's out there and the people that swarm these things, I'm sure that, Star Punch is well aware of this too. But the prices that they want for VHSs is crazy.
It's getting crazy.
They buy them for like less than a dime.
They're selling them for $30-$40.
Yeah, and then they'll turn around and be like, oh, that one's $17,000 because it doesn't have a sticker on it or something.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Private media servers are starting to pop up, which is crazy because like Plex has always been a thing, and now people are trying to learn how to do it. And which is crazy though, Merle, that Merle on Twitch brought this, saying private media servers are blowing up, and that's a really interesting point, because back in my big pirate boy days, it was not uncommon for people like me to have a rated 4 terabyte like setup going on. You got 4 individual drives that are a redundancy backup, and you got them connected to your media computer. People would look at you like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, yo, dude, I got all these movies on a computer. And they're like, well, that's silly. And then they're, well, why don't you just, click it on Netflix? And I'm like, well, it's not always going to be on Netflix.
That's true. I have stacks of external hard drives and discs and stuff of media that you cannot buy or stream.
And what's funny to watch for me is how everybody in the tech sphere used to just tell us like, oh man, well, hard drives are getting more expensive, and SD storage is going to be this thing where we won't need these big drives, and we won't need all this big data stuff because it'll all be on the cloud, and it will have all this access to all this storage. But guess what we're in a shortage of right now? Storage. And now you can't even buy hard drives without spending
That's
you know,
true.
a
I
hard
should've-
drive today is 6 times what it was like, 4 years ago.
I know I should have. Man, there were so many times where I'm like, I should probably go buy that 8 terabyte. But it's like, what am I really gonna do with it? And
Yeah.
now I'm like, man, I sure wish that
I had that 8 terabyte because
Yeah.
on like Black Friday, Amazon 4 years ago, that 8 terabyte was on sale for like $200, and now it's like $799 for the same exact amount of storage. And
I don't even think you can buy stuff that big anymore. I think like 4 is the max. They don't really list out stuff that big.
yeah, it's harder and harder to find big
30
ones.
terabytes. Sick.
So let's see. ArcHog, his Twitch comment said some of the young folks didn't grow up with it or intrigued with physical media. This is very true. Vince said he had 2 30 terabytes, want more. Heck yeah. And Merle says, to Jake's point, out of print and unavailable stuff needs to be archived. And yes, and that goes back to some of my earlier episodes, like way back when I was talking about the fall, like the battle between Blu-ray and HD DVD, and how every time we do this big sort of paradigm shift in how we view and consume media, that a lot of the stuff that's out there gets lost to the world every time. And
Yeah, there's things on VHS that you'll never find on disc. There's things on DVD that you'll never see on Blu-ray.
and now there's things on Blu-ray that aren't streaming anywhere. So anyway, I didn't mean to go on a huge tangent. We only have like 12 more minutes left in this news segment, but one bit of news that I wanted to cover because it's horror related for any horror fans out there. But Reggie Bannister, who was the star of Phantasm, if you were into those movies, they're great horror movies. He passed away this week at 80 years old. So if you ever enjoyed the Phantasm movies, I've never been more scared of a shiny ball in my life. But you can check that out. But in streaming news, though, Jackass Best and Last is now, you can watch it at home. I believe it's VOD right now. So get it wherever you want to pay for streaming content. What did you have? You say more news. Everything in my list is just like, well, did you hear about House of Dragons? Well, did you hear about this movie making money? Did you hear about...
I mean, there's all sorts of dumbass news, which, speaking of extinct entertainment or out of vogue entertainment, stuff like this, did you see that they're making a Jetsons movie starring Jim Carrey? So Jim Carrey's going to be George Jetson.
Which is kind of perfect. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I am here for it, depending on the direction they take. Because here's the thing. What would a Jetsons movie look like? Because I think they have a real opportunity to make it dark. And I think that they should.
Why would you make Jetsons dark?
Because, to me, if I were a filmmaker...
It's just Jim Carrey as George Jetson beating the shit out of Roy.
No, hear me out. Because if you take the Jetsons when the Jetsons were created, we still had this sort of World's Fair like hope, this retro futuristic hope for what the future is going to look like. I mean, back then in the year 2000, people genuinely believed we were going to have flying cars.
Yeah, I mean, and having a robot that vacuums your house isn't that futuristic anymore.
Exactly my point. And so when the Jetsons was created, all this stuff seemed so fantastical. But now, a lot of the things that were in the Jetsons are kind of everyday life. And if you really think about the undertone of the Jetsons, is even with all of this technology, this dude was still grinding 9 to 5, going in and pushing a button at the push-button cog factory, at Cogswell Cogs, Stanley Sprockets.
Yeah, he worked for
Mr. Spacely Sprockets. And
the Cogsworth was their rival.
But I think that it really has an opportunity to kind of look at this post-industrial AI-driven society economy that we're diving into with an interesting lens. And if I were a director, that's the direction I would take.
I don't think that Jetsons as a Hanna-Barbera cartoon source material thing has enough to make a full-length feature movie.
I don't know. I think they could do it. I mean, some of Jim Carrey's stuff that he's done, like the Mr. Rogers sort of esque show that he did about the guy that had the kids show, that was great. It was whimsical but also kind of dark. And then his role in Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, it was a goofy chili dog slinging adventure, but they brought a little bit of dark in it.
Sure, and that's fine, but Jetsons isn't something that I don't think it needs to have a live action anything. I don't think it needs to have a full length movie anything. I think the time of the Jetsons is past. The future is now.
The future is now. The only thing that's different about the Jetsons to today.
I like the Jetsons. By the way, I grew up watching that crap. I like Flintstones and Jetsons and Hanna-Barbera, everything. So don't take it as me being like, well, the Jetsons is poop. I just don't think it would work as a movie in 2020X.
Right.
Yeah. Something else, though, from the long ago and the way back, Godzilla -0, more and more news on it every single day. They announced its runtime. It's just over 2 hours. It's 135 minutes. I don't remember how long -1 was. I don't feel like it was all that long, but if now that there's going to be a second kaiju, maybe that little over 2 hours runtime will work out. I don't know. Sure wish it was like 100 minutes instead of that extra 35, but we'll see. Also, man, just talking about ancient television, there's a movie about Chris Hansen and To Catch a Predator being made, starring Rob Pattinson.
I've been seeing the trailers for it for months at the AMC, and I'm kind of here for it because Rob Pat is a very talented guy.
Yeah, they've had trailers for months.
Yeah, in the theater, I've seen trailers for.
Oh yeah, new trailer. I hadn't seen anything about it. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, new trailer about this.
You know how that looks.
Yeah, it's just Batman being like, why don't you have a seat? That man actually thinking about it like that. That's Batman is catching predators. That's pretty cool. Just takes them outside and breaks every bone on their bodies in the bushes before the cops get them. Maybe that'll be pretty interesting. I used to watch To Catch a Predator and get real entertained by them catching bad guys. There's something about justice and getting the bad guy, and that was one of those shows where, like, you're a sick, messed up individual. If you walk outside, the Florida police are going to beat the hell out of you, and they're like, oh, can we just not do that part? And they're like, no. We got to do that part. Yeah. Also, something interesting. You know how that one night only. What's it called? One night only. Yeah, I was like, have you seen the trailers about how it's The Purge but for doing sex?
Yeah.
It turns out that was in the original script. The guy that came up with the idea for the movie put a reference to The Purge in that movie, and he was like, maybe I should take this out because it'll just kind of give it up that maybe this isn't my original idea, and that a one night only to do things, you only got one chance of doing something that might be socially not acceptable as
I still don't
has
watch
been
it.
used before. Yeah, so he removed the reference, but it wasn't lost on even the original author, the writer of the movie, is that it's a Purge rip. So
I just hate movies about hot people falling in love. Like, I just hate movies like that. They're
look at these
fucking
beautiful
hot people,
idiots.
because they always put them through things that would never work for anybody that wasn't just as stunningly gorgeous as the two people on screen.
Well, and the suspension of disbelief is already gone because they show up and they're just like really attractive people with money and everything going on.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's no way those people aren't locked down.
Yeah,
Well,
and then they're
but then we
and
say
then they're
that,
like, oh,
but-
you're a stinky head. Oh, you're a poopy face, and I fucking hate you. And then now I'm running across New York because I love you so much.
I mean, I say that, but this real good looking fellow right here talking to you now, no one has this locked down.
Ladies,
Yeah, applications are open.
Applications are open. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make a
Line 'em up.
Yeah. What else, man? There wasn't really all that much interesting stuff going on outside of that kind of thing. So that's my news.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about stuff that's coming out this weekend.
When you got Spoder Boys out there, there's not.
Yeah, I know it's hard to compete. Well, this weekend coming out in theaters, August 14th. Yeah, that's this weekend, 14th to 2026. There has been some early AMC Cinema Unseen releases of this new film, The End of Oak Street. The mixed reviews. A lot of people are like, ew, yuck, and some people are like, whatever. I think ultimately it's going to be a boring, forgettable movie. If you've seen the trailer, it's Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor, and there's like a dinosaur next door, I guess.
Yeah, like their neighborhood is transported to a place where dinosaurs walk around.
The land of the lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like the Ice Cream Man, which I've heard is just like a trash can fire. I think End of Oak Street's not. It's gonna fall on its face. Also coming out this year, we got a lot of stuff coming out this week.
There's another dinosaur movie.
Well, there is another dinosaur movie. Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. Terry Crews,
Just the ladies, Carl. Sorry, dog.
Vince on Twitch said Ice Cream Man was made with AI. Yeah, a lot of people bitching about that, rightfully so. Also coming out in theaters this week, a film, maybe you've seen the trailer for it. It's called Nimrods. It's a cross-country, like, three buddies causing mayhem and mission to go to L.A. for their big break, opening for Green Day on New Year's Eve. So this movie is basically Detroit Rock City for Green Day. I mean, it's the same, the premise. A couple of friends trying to make their way to a...
Yeah, but it doesn't work when it's not Kiss. Kiss is the only kind of band that kind of thing can work for.
Right, yeah. And especially in 2026, like, who cares? Like, I mean, Green Day is cool, but not like, I'm not gonna go drive cross country to get to LA to see Green Day. I mean, Green Day here Green Day's probably gonna just be playing the state fair circuit, like, before we know it, Anyway, you'd be an American idiot to drive that distance to see Green Day. Anyway, it's coming out in theaters this week. Also, probably not a very large release, but it is coming out. It's got J.K. Simmons. It's called Brink of War. It's about President Reagan dealing with Mikhail Gorbachev. There you have it. It's got Jeff Daniels playing Ronald Reagan, and Jared Harris as Mikhail Gorbachev, and J.K. Simmons as George Shultz, the man in between. So, yeah, that's a movie you can watch. It'll be out there. So that's pretty much it for this week. Next week is there's a couple of movies that I'm looking forward to that we'll talk more about next week. But Tony is coming out. There's been some early trailers and early screenings of the Anthony Bourdain biopic that I'm pretty excited about. So, but this week is kind of weak because I think they're wanting to keep giving Spider-Man and Odyssey some breathing room here because the freight train of money keeps just dumping dollar bills into the coffers.
Yeah, dude. If Tom Holland and Zendaya aren't your movie, get the hell out of the way, bro.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you have it. That's what's coming out in theaters this week. Let's talk about what's in theaters right now. You wanna jump in and give us your thoughts on Super Troopers? Because then we can go back and forth.
It probably won't even take that long, and it's not going to contain anything shocking or.
How many semen jokes were there?
One.
Only one? It was in the trailer. I assumed there was going to be more.
So yeah, man, I went and I watched Super Troopers 3, the new sequel to Super Troopers from your crew that does those movies, the Broken Lizard guys. And man, it's more of the same but different, if that makes sense.
25 years later?
Yeah, well,
from the first one?
And
2001 was the first Super Troopers.
yeah, and it really doesn't feel like it's a sequel made with that kind of time difference in mind.
Because the last Super Troopers 2 was in 2018. And so now we're at 2026 with Super Troopers 3.
Yeah, so half as long as it took from the first one to the second one,
Yes.
from the second one to now. Man, yeah, I mean, the whole story is given up in the trailer. The first couple minutes is there's no twist or crazy, shocking things. It's what you want from a Super Troopers movie, from the Broken Lizard guys. It's hammy jokes, it's silly punchlines, goofy slapstick comedy. It's funny. There's definitely like a couple of laugh out loud moments, and then there's a lot of stuff that's like just gonna make you kind of groan. But at least with this one, I'll give it that it didn't do a rehash of the first movie like the second one did, because in the second one every joke they did was
a repackaged version.
Was a repeat of the first movie.
It's kind of like the first season of What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like they were repackaging the movie.
Well, sure, but that they didn't know what they were doing. This was like an established like sequel. So Super Troopers 3, unlike Super Troopers 2, instead of being like, hey, here's that same joke we know you like.
Yeah.
This one, they're like, hey, remember that thing that we've talked about? That was dumb. And then they give you something new. And at least there was a lot of new stuff. If you like any of the Broken Lizard guy stuff, it's enjoyable enough. No one in the theater was mad that they were there about it.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It's very silly. There's lots of cameos. It's fun. Man, it's really just kind of hard to talk about other than just telling you that
it's Super
it's
Troopers.
Super Troopers. Yeah, it's more of the same, but with enough difference to make it where you're not upset that you're watching it. Because I remember watching Super Troopers 2, and I was like, man, I've seen this before. I've seen all of this before, and there's only like one or two standout jokes from it. This one, the whole movie, I was like, that's pretty good. I'm like, that's funny. Or people around me were like really dying with laughter. Worth a watch. Don't expect it to like blow your socks off or anything, but if you like the other two Super Trooper movies, you'll really get a kick out of this one.
Well, right on. Well, it is currently in theaters. You can check it out.
Vince says sounds like halfway between a trooper and a pooper. Maybe a little bit. I mean, you can tell that they're old dudes. They're tired. They didn't have a crazy budget for this. It seems like there's certain filming aspects where if you look and you think about how they did that scene, like someone's voice from off camera or the way that they talk about someone or bring something in, you're like, in the filming locations, you're like, yeah, they were saving money everywhere they could.
Yeah.
But that's what they really wanted. That was something, that's why they took long breaks, is because the whole thing with the Broken Lizard guys is that they said they got too big to be able to be them, and that was something that they didn't want and they didn't enjoy. So I think as long as they're there and they're having fun, like the blooper reels at the end shows you that they're all on set having a great time, and all the new actors they brought in are so stoked to be there, and all that comes through, and if you're their audience, you're going to really enjoy that. And that's really what that's about, is that they're indie filmmakers going back to being indie filmmakers for the people that enjoy that. And it's not supposed to be a massive commercial blockbuster success. It's supposed to be exactly what it is, which is more Super Troopers for guys that like Super Troopers.
Movies for guys who like movies.
Yes, and it very much is that. So I mean, I can't just sit here and like praise it or anything like crazy, but I'm not going to to tell you that
And
it's
you're not
a
upset
bad
about
movie.
it. You weren't
either.
upset.
No,
Okay.
actually, I liked this one better than the second one only because it gave me more new.
Word.
Yeah.
All right on. I have obviously went and saw the other movie that had Tom Holland, Zendaya, and John Bernthal in it that wasn't The Odyssey, and it was Spider-Man Brand New Day. And my one-sentence review is I liked it more than The Odyssey, which I think a lot of Nolanites would be like, but this movie is a movie. It is every sense of the word. It is a popcorn action comic book movie in the style that comic book movies need to stay in. And my biggest complaint about this movie is every time it really tried to bring in this outside Marvel world, because I mean, Sony and Disney obviously are Disney wants to own Spider-Man so bad that they can't see straight, but they also Sony is under pressure that they have to integrate this Tom Holland Spider-Man into this MCU that Disney is creating, but they seem to have the only property that anybody really gives a shit about anymore in the MCU. And so these times where they're trying to force Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner Hulk situation in here, and then kind of force feed Florence Pugh's character from the Guardians or whatever as like comic, those parts felt really ham-handed and a little sloppy. But I think the thing that made this movie work to me more so than the last couple of Spider-Man movies is the last couple of Spider-Man movies, it was like, we're teleporting between universes. We're doing mystic crap, and the universe is at stake, and we got to fly you out to space, Spider-Man, and you'll get cosmic powers, and then, the Iron Man's dead, and you inherited all this AI tech, and we got to save you. Thanos snapped you, but now you're back, and then this is just like, we're back to friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and the stakes are low.
Yeah.
But also the stakes got incredibly high by the villain that they put into this movie, which I thought was fun and interesting to watch, but I do not want to see where it goes next. That, I think, is going to be the biggest shortcoming of this movie, is that they introduced, and all you got to do is look at IMDb, it's not a freaking spoiler.
It's been all over the news.
Jean Grey is the bad guy. But Jean Grey's a very complicated character in the Marvel universe. Jean Grey, one of the most powerful telepaths, on the planet. The whole Dark Phoenix arc, she becomes one of the most dangerous people on the planet, but she was an X-Men under Professor X and all this sort of stuff. So it's like that's a kind of compelling and interesting character to include in this, but it can also be small stakes because she's still young. She has not become full force. She's not Omega level at this point. She's met Professor X, which they're trying to set up for Doomsday.
I was going to say, I don't know, from what I've heard about how she works and from just the trailer alone and how her powers operate, she's Omega level.
Oh, no, by the end of it, yes, she becomes Omega level at the end.
To be able to have her consciousness transport from person to person without her being anywhere near them.
Well, she had to be 33 feet. That was a mechanic because she still didn't know how to control her powers, and so they capture. She had a sister that they tortured and died, and so she learns to get better with her powers. And by the end of the movie, you really start to see oh shit, this is a dangerous mutant, that as you will. But anyway, the movie overall was actually a lot of fun. John Bernthal is a good. He's a perfect typecast for Frank Castle. He's not the greatest to have ever played that role, but he works as Punisher because he's just that grumpy dickhead with a gun. And the banter between him and Peter Parker is kind of fun. Zendaya's great. Jacob Batalon is great. Mark Ruffalo kind of is just super, just square peg round hole for this movie. But the most of the city stuff, the thing that made the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies so fun is him going around and stopping a robbery and their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and New York being we love you, Spider-Man, and that kind of stuff never gets old because
he was Spider-Man.
Because that's they went back to basics and it worked, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah, something that worked for the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans that has not worked for any of the Tom Holland stuff is that you had Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. You had a Peter Parker that was Peter Parker, and these movies have not had that.
And this movie's very much about Peter's struggle with that the sort of loneliness of being a hero. And I think that's not a story we've seen a million times, but it's also one of the cool parts of the Spider-Man story that keeps getting. Every good Spider-Man movie has a little bit of that in it, where it's it's so lonely to be Peter Parker, And this one, he's just the Peter Parker show, and his friends don't know him. Now, one complaint I do have about Zendaya's MJ character, and maybe it's whatever parallel universe they're on, is she's too OP'd as a character, because I guess she's infallible. She's not a damsel in distress, but somehow always needs saving. But she's also like a molecular biologist and a chemical engineer, and she like walked in, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to make a DNA inhibitor to like inhibit my arachnid DNA, and it's like nanotechnology that Tony Stark's AI is helping me build. And she goes, oh, have you ever thought about that? And they tap it with like a fucking soldering iron, and he's like, oh my God, MJ, thanks for the help. I would have never really thought of that. And I'm like,
Spider-Man, one of the smartest people in the entire Marvel universe, is showed up by a girl that's supposed to be a model.
His high school sweetheart model. I'm like, oh. And, I thought that was a little obnoxious. And that scene really pissed me off, because I hate in movies where they have a circuit board and a soldering iron, and they're just like tap, tap, tap.
Smoke comes
Yeah,
up.
they're just burning plastic, and they're like, yeah. And then they're not even like soldering or connecting anything. They're just, this thing touches this board, and I'm doing science. And I'm just like...
You know what you've never seen in a movie when someone has a soldering iron?
Soldering.
Solder.
Yeah,
the
you've never
actual
seen solder.
Yeah, they just poke the hot stick to the thing.
To the plastic
Yeah.
board.
But no one's sitting there with the actual solder.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not cool. It's not sexy. And they don't even have components. They're just like, just touch it. Just touch the board with the solder. And it's like, you have to... You're installing pieces. That's what solder does. And it's not just this circuit stick that goes beep pop pop beep beep. Oh man, it's kind of like, so Vince on Twitch, I know we've talked about this on the show. It's like when you see lava lamps that haven't started flowing properly, or they're in their startup phase in a room that's like supposed to have been like going the whole time. It's just like really annoying to see. Or like a arcade game that's like 4 generations before or after it would ever be in that place, and you're like, clearly whoever set deck does not understand what's happening on screen, but they're like, just make them do science stuff, poke a soldering iron on it,
Give them magnifying glass, give them a hot iron, science.
It's kind of like that there was some
Enhance.
famous stock photo out there of this lady, it was like women in STEM, and it's like, oh man,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And it's like showing this lady at this like university or whatever holding a soldering iron in front of the circuit board, and she's holding the hot part, and they're like, oh my God, who, and it's like, oh, and then you're using this as a way to be like, yeah, women in STEM. And you're like, no, this is a delicate image. You don't screw up this one. And they're just like, her hands would have been sizzled right off. I don't know. But anyway, Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. I thought it was fun also that they included little nods to kind of like the neighborhoodly villains. Scorpion had like a little cameo. Tombstone had a very, very small cameo. Ramrod had a little tiny cameo in there.
Really, Tombstone? I forgot that we had talked about that before the movie ever came out.
He was literally in a beat-up scene, and he got, like, if you didn't know who Tombstone was, you would not have known what's happening. It was a montage of Spider-Man just doing Spider-Man shit around New York City.
Was he like gray skinned and everything?
Yeah.
Did they make him okay?
He was gray skinned, wearing a big suit.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, Peter Parker, thwarted him. He was like, man, aren't you gonna blah 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 blah? And he said something back at Spider-Man. He had the teeth. And
I was gonna ask about the teeth.
He had the teeth, and I was like, and it was no explanation. It was because it was this montage that was illustrating that Peter Parker has nothing in his life other than work and and it's tearing him up inside, and he's getting exhausted. But yeah, it was cool, like seeing like, oh, okay, yeah, there's just neighborhoodly villains, that I appreciated. So overall, I thought it was a pretty fun movie. It hit all the action points. It was big. It was bombastic. It had just the right amount of star power, which Odyssey failed at, and it had all the big set pieces and the same amount of CGI. Honestly, I think that Spider-Man Brand New Day was a better movie than Odyssey. I think Odyssey visually is stunning from just like a frame-by-frame element. But do I think that it was a better movie than Spider-Man? No, and that's a weird thing for me to say.
Yeah, I've heard everyone say that they've liked this movie for the most part, unless you turn your brain on. If you turn your brain on, the whole thing falls apart. And like Jean Grey is just like this crazy murderous person who doesn't care about anything and suffers zero consequences.
She's just trying to get her sister back, and And I don't mind the Jean Grey part because she does become Dark Phoenix. She does have a broken, angry side that is exploited at the end of her, arc as a character. And I don't know. I'm glad they didn't tease out any more X-Men though. Like where she just pulls up to the school of gifted and talented. I'm like, no, I don't need to see any of that. I don't need to. We already know it's coming. We already know the X-Men shit's happening in Doomsday. I don't want to do it. Going back to the comments with the continuity error thing, Star Punch Telemaster on Twitch said, things that are annoying, or when you hear Atari 2600 noises when the characters are holding NES controllers. And I'll tell you why they do that. That's actually a specific reason. Same thing like when they're playing pinball, like a modern 19, like a...
It's always the same noises.
Bing, 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 ching, 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 bing, bing, bing. That's for copyright. They have to do that. So they, if someone's playing a Nintendo and it's like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, that costs money. And, the Castlevania theme costs money. The Metroid theme costs money.
Well, and there's always the things like the Foley yell and stuff like that. A lot of these productions use the same audio bits that they bought. Someone recorded something. It sounds great. It works for movies. It's recognizable. Put it in there.
But as what Merle said, or when Will and Carlton on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air were playing NES, but with Genesis controllers. That's just that's negligence.
TV and movies are so bad about that, or they're like doing things that doesn't make sense on their controllers, and it shows the on screen. Like they're just going crazy on the buttons, and the guy on screen's like, Also, dude, motorcycles in movies. Almost every audio recording you hear of a motorcycle, they try to give it a Harley Davidson noise, regardless of what motorcycle it is. Like, there's some dude
just like a little four-stroke going.
Yeah,
brr, 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 brr,
yeah, there's
brr,
like a guy on like a Grom or something like that, or a monkey, and they show up with their little like 12cc one-cylinder motorcycle on it. Yeah, it has like Harley Davidson noises every time. Yeah,
I think the only one they ever seem to get right are dirt bikes. Because every dirt bike movie, they get out on the highway. It's always that high pitch insanity. But okay, anyway, Spider-Man, brand new day. It's out in theaters right now. You could check it out. If you like Spider-Man, you will love this movie.
It's only 2 hours and 25 minutes.
2.5 hours.
Dang.
Good runtime.
I thought that it was a much longer movie.
No, for a Spider-Man movie, for something in this universe. The pacing felt okay. There was a little bit of a lull in the center. I would have probably trimmed 10 minutes out of this. There was other things that I wish they could have included, but it would have added more runtime. But I think you could have safely trimmed 10, and it would have been just as tight of a movie. So yeah, there you have it. Spider-Man Brand New Day. I liked it better than... let's see. The last one was fun because it had all the Spider-Man in it, which was kind of cute and a gimmick. But this one's probably been my favorite of the past couple. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised at me how much I actually ended up enjoying the movie. So it just felt like a Spider-Man movie. Took me back to Sam Raimi. The fate of the world was not. And let's just to reiterate. The fate of the world makes comic book movies bad. You go back, you think about Ant-Man, which was like once upon a time the only MCU movie we were like, not bad.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah. And, and it's because all that movie was a heist movie. They were just breaking into some locally owned like military tech company to get some...
Stealing from Walton Goggins.
Yeah, stealing from Walton Goggins.
Don't take my stuff, nerd.
That was the plot of the movie. And then it was like Ant-Man will return, and it's like in Quantum Mania, and he's drilling down, and well, lo and behold, some Kang the Conqueror's trapped in the whatever the fuck, and it's like
the second one was the Walton Goggins. The first one was just the mean wasp man. The bug boy. But
like the moment the stakes get too high, it falls apart. Same with like some of the Avengers movies. Like once we're talking Thanos, it's like okay, all right, we're forming this team, we're saving some days. But then when it's like nope, Guardians of the Galaxy are getting involved. We're going to other planets. Some alien's gonna destroy Earth, half the population. And it starts to get weak. It starts to fall apart. It starts to get lame. And then Just every time, like then they try to do the Eternals. Like nobody wanted to see that movie because it was just too big. It was too much. You can't always save the world. Sometimes you just. I think that's why Punisher and Daredevil did so well on Netflix. Is because they were just like it was neighborhood, you know.
Yeah. Well, and Star Punch just brought in that Punisher Warzone. Punisher Warzone is probably the best Marvel movie in general.
I mean, when you think about it, again, low stakes. I mean, Blade. Think about Blade. Low stakes. It's just like a bad guy vampire that's doing some trouble in his town. You got to stop the bad guy vampire. It's like, oh well, maybe he might resurrect a blood god or something like this, but it's still not going to blow up Earth. He's just going to be a stronger bad guy. And you know, Punisher's another good example. Is like he didn't have any superpowers, so it was really funny seeing John Bernthal's Punisher try to shoot guns at Hulk. And, you know, because he shows up trying to help Spider-Man out because Zendaya's like, you got to go help that guy. And he's like, oh, fine, fuck it. And he goes in there and shooting guns at Hulk. And you're like, what the fuck is he doing there? And then, of course, Spider-Man immediately goes, what are you doing here, Frank? You're going to tickle him to death? And I'm like, okay, that's a Spider-Man thing. You know, that's what Spider-Man would say.
It's crazy that Jean Grey is powerful enough to control the Hulk, though.
Well, they kind of use some gymnastics to make that make sense. And he did end up fighting her out of the because apparently she can't control Peter Parker. And that's...
Spider-Man's immune, but Hulk isn't.
But Hulk isn't, yeah. Yeah. But then Hulk comes to his, you know, he...
Hulk, who's famous for having one of the most complicated and uncontrollable
minds
in
ever,
Marvel.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well... He had an inhibitor thing and there was like that Bruce Banner built himself to keep his Hulk shit in check. And then she got into his brain from that and then removed it. And she was already in.
But the Hulk is there.
Yeah, right. But there was an inhibitor.
This is why I can't Marvel movie.
I know. You think about it too much.
Make a Maestro movie where Hulk has killed everyone and he rules the wasteland of future Earth with an iron fist, collecting all of the women and gamma poisoning everybody. Make that movie. Give me the Maestro movie.
I still am sad that they squandered the whole Planet Hulk storyline with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
There
was no Sakaar.
No.
There was no Son of Hulk Scar.
No. Yep. None of that. No Beta Ray Bill. No, you know, none of the cool shit. None of just like Warlord Hulk. And then going, you know what? Let's go back to Earth because I'm fucking pissed.
Well, because they've never made Hulk a threat, so they can't. Well, and Tony's dead, so now there's no Hulk threat, and there's no Tony to send him into space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they ruined.
They can't do it.
Yeah, they ruined the whole thing.
Which could have been one of the greatest Hulk. I mean, just watch the animated one. Planet Hulk's pretty good. You can. It's not as good as the comic, but it's pretty fun to watch. Anyway, all right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Let's do the box office report because I am sweating like a bee. We're going to give you the box office roundup for August 7th through 9th, 2026. Going to give you the top 10 movies in America. I did want to mention number 14 because I do want to see this movie, but it's only out in very, very small limited release right now, 5 theaters nationwide. And yeah, Jake, go ahead and well, I'll talk. Number 14 is Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. It's from Mubi. I want to see this movie. It's supposed to get a nationwide release sometime soon, but I want to see it. But it did open up in 5 theaters, and the per theater average was more than Spider-Man, which is crazy. Because it did on average of $49,000 per screen, where Spider-Man did $32,000.
Our local AMC has a standee for that movie.
I know.
But they cut out the Teenage Sex and Death at. It just says like
Camp Miasma.
Camp Miasma on it.
Yeah.
And then number 13 with one more theater than that, Tony.
And it had the highest percentage of all of them. At 58,000 average per theater, which is, you know, Spider-Man, the number one movie, no spoilers there, was 32,000 per average. So that's crazy. So Tony, man, I'm hoping that people love this movie.
Yeah. And then coming in at number 10, Cat Video Fest 2026. What? Okay. $568,000 brought in by Cat Video Fest. Didn't even know that was a thing, man.
So it's in 255 theaters
Yeah.
nationwide.
And then at number 9, The Invite, still hanging in there 7 weeks in. Another $700,000 for it, bringing it up to $24.2 million so far. And then opening at number 8, Ice Cream Man, $2 million. Even with some stronger competition in the movie theater for families and stuff like that, I figure a horror movie, something silly was kind of a shoo-in for making more dollars, but there it is.
Apparently, it's just so bad.
Yeah, and then at number 7, Moana, in its 5th week out, brought in almost $3 million. It's at 121.6, another 160 elsewhere, so it's at just over 280 million so far. Probably not even close to budget yet. And then at number 6, Minions and Monsters, $3.5 million in its 6th week, brings it up to 176.3. Another 300 million elsewhere, so it is sitting at 474 million globally right now. Opening at number 5, Super Troopers 3. In its first week, it brought in $4 million, and that one was actually brought to you by Walt Disney. How about that? Searchlight Films.
Searchlight.
I feel like $4 million is probably pretty good for that one. Haven't seen kind of what the budget looked like on that one, so I bet it's well on its way to breaking even and not being bad without looking up what the budget was. It can't have been that crazy. And then number 4, Toy Story 5, another $4.2 million for it. 8 weeks out has brought it up to 470.7, another $624 million. It is almost at 1.1 billion bucks. And then opening at number 3, One Night Only, the Purge but sex. It brought in
The Spurge. That's what I'm calling it.
It brought in $5.5 million in its opening weekend. The Odyssey held strong at number 2, $31.7 million, 461.4 for that. Another 650 elsewhere, so it's at $1.1 billion. And then holding the number 1 spot for its 2nd week in a row with $144.2 million in its 2nd week.
That's wild.
$654.3 million in the U.S. alone. $1 billion elsewhere globally in 2 weeks.
It is almost at the
2
$2 billion. This is on track to be one of the most profitable movies ever made.
$1.66 billion.
Which, that is wild.
In 2 weeks.
And it's funny because movies like this have sort of a tipping point where, and that's just like economics too, where once you get to a point where it's made this much money, it's only going to make more because now everybody's like, it's made $2 billion and I have to see it because everybody else saw it. And then it just pushes the momentum that much more forward.
One of the things that suck about this is that these top 2 movies are going to be something that people are going to forget about. No one's going to be like, well, man, this is an all-time classic. People aren't going to sit their children down to watch Odyssey years from now, but they will be on the list of movies of like, oh, these movies made a lot of money.
So, okay, let's see where we are here. Right now, Spider-Man Brand New Day is sitting at, well, they have not, worldwide. It's at number 12 with 1.6 billion in its 2nd week.
Updated since it's at 1.1
No,
whatever.
Right here. Here's worldwide, 1.6.
Oh, okay.
And then you think about Avatar, which is the number 1. There's narrow margins between all of these. Avengers Endgame is 2.7 million. Of Avatar is 2.9, so 3 billion. But it's only got a little ways to go. Spider-Man No Way Home almost hit 2 billion. It got 1.9, and that was its lifetime in theaters. So Spider-Man still has several weeks. I think it's easily going to beat Jurassic World, Inside Out, and Zootopia, and then put its way right next to its other Spider-Man counterpart.
Yeah, I just wonder if like Avengers Endgame being at number 2 with 2.8 billion lifetime, how much of that is from like the re-release and all of that kind of thing?
It probably includes a lot of that because this is lifetime theatrical gross numbers. Same with like Avatar. You're like, how the hell did it get 2.9 billion? It's well, they've been. It's been re-released and rewatched in theaters, and all of that goes to its lifetime gross. Pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Well, anyways, guys, that is that's the show. We're done. We're gonna go find some air conditioning that works and cool off. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We always appreciate you jumping in. Don't forget to jump in our Discord. My apologies to everybody on the Discord. I'm back. I just got a new phone, and it was 17-step verification, and I couldn't remember a thing, and but I'm back. So you can follow us on our Discord. You can like all our things. You can subscribe. You can get this podcast wherever it is you download podcasts. You can get all those links on our link tree at driveinspeakerbox.com. And yeah, Jake, you have anything to add?
I don't.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.